Okay, guys, officially, we can start. So I am going to stop the share. So hopefully that means you can get to gallery view. Yes.
Ah, that's nice. Yes, I can see that.
And a lot of our public clearly don't want to be seen. Oh, I can see Linda and Sylvie. Hello, Linda and Sylvie. Well, I can see Linda. I can't see Sylvie.
Oh, I haven't managed to do gallery view. What am I doing?
Oh, no, that's Sylvie.
Gallery view. There we go. Oh, there. Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
That's really clever.
I'm trying to unmute. I'm going to unmute because I haven't seen these guys for ages. Hello, Linda and Sylvie.
Hello.
Salut, ma chère.
Hello.
I'm fine, thank you. You looking well?
Yes.
These poor guys.
How are you?
I'm fine. This is always the stressful bit, is starting the show. Because I'm always worried, like the first time, as everybody knows, I ended up doing it by the bins because I had no internet. So
because you're a classy bitch.
I'm a classy cow. So I had to nick my friend's Wi-Fi. So I'm always happy that I've got Wi-Fi. That's always a good start. So your son didn't fancy watching because they brought their son once to one show. For some reason, everybody was talking about rimming that night, which is very unusual for an all-female comedy show.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not just periods we talk about. We also talk about licking buttholes.
Everybody was talking, for some reason, apart from my good self, obviously, everybody was talking about rimming. And we've never seen your son again at that show, have we?
No, we did have to explain to him what that meant.
Oh, God.
That's what you think. That's what you think.
Yeah, actually, probably we didn't. Yeah.
Well, I might leave you open if you're going to laugh. So we're going to start talking now. Seriously, we've been chatting away for the last 20 minutes. So welcome Jojo, Shazia, who's clearly on her phone. Okay. Shazia is multitasking.
Can Shazia hear us?
Maureen, I was actually tweeting about our show.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you go, Mirza.
I take it back.
Always working. Always working like a good Asian.
This is fabulous. So, Ellen's iPhone and Eleanor and Stephanie and Curtie don't want to be seen. That's fine.
Oh, I've got the waiting room. I've got to let people in. So
people in the waiting room.
I know. This is hilarious. Right. Okay. So we're very popular. I mean,
we've been doing it for 3 months.
Oh my God! Look at this.
I know. Michaela. Hello, Michaela.
Hello.
Michaela's also a regular from the London club. Hello, Michaela. How's it? Oh God, she's moved. Where is she? She's down there now.
Oh, that's what happens. They all jump about.
Don't mute. Don't. I'm going to ask her to unmute. Don't move about. That confuses me. How are you, lovely?
I'm all right. I'm getting better now. It's nice to see you all.
Yeah, keep it light, Michaela. Keep it light.
Eleanor's explained her absence. She's eating dinner. Eleanor.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That's fair enough.
Eating live eels or something horrible that she doesn't want us to see.
And we've got Mel there. Hello, Mel. How are you?
Good, thank you.
She's at Brummie. She's a regular at Brummie. How's it all going in Brum?
Well, lots of protests going on today, keeping it light but nice and calm.
Good.
In Century Square. Yes, I noticed that.
Yeah.
And we've got Bren. Bren's got company.
Oh,
look at you, Bren.
loads of them.
I've asked you to unmute, Bren, but you obviously don't want to talk to me. I don't blame you. A lot of people feel like that. Oh, look at that. You've got a little party.
In the chats as
Bren,
well.
you've got a little threesome going. What's going on?
What can I say?
It's not that kind of show, Bren. Just so you know. We'd be charging a lot more. We'd be charging a lot more for it.
Let me explain. It's their birthday, so I have to allow them.
Really explain it, but okay.
This is legal now too. You're allowed friends now.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're allowed. Yeah, that's true. Who are the friends? Where are you, Bren? Because you've got a very Scandinavian name.
Yes, I'm married to a Dane, but I live in Stockport.
Okay, it was getting really exotic until you mentioned Stockport.
Right.
Stockport is the Scandinavia of
Absolutely.
the UK.
Just round the corner from Barbara Nice.
Oh, you're just around the corner from Barbara Nice.
Yeah.
Who theoretically lives in Stockport. Yes. Okay, well, cool. I've gigged in Stockport.
Where? At the plaza?
No, that sounded a bit too posh. I was definitely not at the plaza.
Whereabouts?
I can't remember. It's just a stop before Manchester, isn't it? So
Yeah.
No, I can't remember. But I've done a couple of gigs, but this is a long time long time to go. We'll
I
come
bet it was
to.
the Plaza.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Got Marina here, who's known as the comedy junkie. Hi,
Yeah.
Marina.
Hiya, how you doing?
So, Jojo, Marina is the person who had a chat with you in Edinburgh.
Yes, I'm remembering that now. I thought I was getting confused with
lying.
Tom Spade. No, I am because it was after my show because I had my little mic drop show.
Oh my God, that was so good. You held it about a minute and a half or something, or it felt like an hour when you just held the audience and we were just silent going, and then that's when I noticed Tom come in behind me, and I'd met Tom before, and you're like, oh my God, he's here. So we all bailed outside, and there's this sort of like comedians, and I'm in, as you can gather, probably heaven. And I went, I believe this is happening. And you were so lovely to me. So lovely.
Can I just wait? Did you not? Were you on stage? You did not talk for a minute and a half.
Yeah,
Jojo.
Yeah.
I say something quite devastating,
and then you don't say anything.
And I don't say anything. I let people be.
Wow, that's
very.
I've never known Jojo to be silent for a minute and a half. But,
it's awesome.
That's quite impressive. Now we're talking to Brendan Stockport. Kate, you're not too far away. You're in Manchester, aren't you? In southern Manchester.
Right. I'm in the suburb of Urmston.
What's that like?
Urmston. That's something from Dinner Ladies, right? That's what somebody told me.
Where's that?
Urmston is near the Trafford Centre.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So, because you originally, that's not a Mancunian accent, I suspect.
No, I've been here long enough. It should be by now, but it is not. I suck at doing British accents.
Where are you from?
So originally Erie, Pennsylvania, which is on the Great Lakes in the States. So near Canada.
Do you know, I know where Erie is, because Erie, for some reason, comes up a lot in German crossword puzzles.
Does it?
Yes.
It's got a lot of vowels. You can start and finish a word with E and E, so it's like, that's quite handy, I suppose.
I'm very sad. I do a lot of German crossword puzzles, and Erie comes up a hell of a lot.
This is good to know.
Well, you started stand-up in New York, didn't you?
I did. Thanks for knowing. Yeah, I went to university in New York, so I started gigging right after I stopped studying. And then I continued to live in New York for about a decade, and then I met my wife, who is Scottish, and then eventually she...
I knew I liked you for a reason, Kate.
You can't resist a Scot. So
where's she from in Scotland?
Oban, in the West Highlands.
Nice.
Yeah. Bonnie Oban. Can't shake a stick without hitting something Bonnie.
Yeah.
No. So, okay, so you started gigging in New York. How would you... what's the difference between gigging in America and over in Britain, do you think?
Two things. Point of reference, that's one thing. It's like you can't just tell jokes about signs you saw on the subway because there's way too much exposition to get to a punchline. And then the second thing is cocktail waitresses bring your drinks to your table. Nobody gets up to go to the bar, and there's not breaks like that. Like you either go to the bar or a cocktail waitress. So basically the show keeps going and you're just having drinks or getting up to do what you need to do.
You get that in Europe sometimes, where they'll serve people at the table as you're performing, and I personally find it really annoying.
I guess you get used to it. I like the way they do it over here now that I live here, and like this is the way that I know currently. But I think if you're living over there, you just kind of get used to like the flow of traffic in and out and around all your hard work.
Because it's sort of the check spot, isn't it? You don't want to be performing when all the checks go out and everybody's doing that, doing the money and stuff.
Rifling through their wallets. Although nowadays it's probably easier just like tapping everything. But still, if you're splitting like a bill with a table or something like that, it's a real pain in the ass. You're right, you don't want the check spot.
Someone's got the calculator out.
Exactly.
Which would be me, to be fair, But also, like in America, only the headliner gets paid, don't they, as a rule?
Yeah, I mean, that's one good thing about living over here in the UK is that there's a much more egalitarian sort of like ladder that you can climb with stand-up over here. There's a lot more like at least petrol money, and then you start getting your paid spots for opening and paid middles and then headlining. But yeah, in America, I could have been gigging as a stand-up for 15 years or so and never been paid. And that's not because I'm not funny, which is also true.
Chaz, you gig in the States. What would you say? Because you've done some really great clubs. You've done the Jay Leno Club, haven't you, and stuff, and Comedy Store.
I do well in America because they think I'm Mexican. It's not a joke. I've been offered so many cleaning jobs in my whole life. And they come up to me, speak to me in Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they really don't understand British Asian. They just think I'm Mexican. When I start talking English in an English accent, they think I'm doing a character. And it takes them. I gig there a lot. I gigged mainly in San Francisco, New York, and LA. When I first went there, though, they used to just stare at me, and it used to take ages, about 5 minutes on stage before they get used to a brown woman talking proper English.
Wow.
You know, now that they've got, and I used to speak very slowly, but now, you know, I've got used to it. I start, you know, I talk normally now, but I know what words to use, what words not to use, and kind of, I really have to talk proper English when I'm there, like really accentuate my vowels and things, because they're looking at a brown person talking English, which is very confusing for a lot of Americans. You know, they're not used to seeing people like us. Gina Yashere will tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
Is that when she first went there, she had to change her material so that the first 10 minutes she was explaining how there are black people in England.
Imagine when Idris Elba first used his natural accent after The Wire.
Oh my, I know. Yeah. I mean, because they think that everybody's just related to William and Kate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's England. That's what England is like. But as we all know, anybody that is not like William and Kate, we just send them back, which is what we've done recently. So.
I once got asked in America if I always talked like this, because I thought I was putting on an accent. I was like, yeah. But you know what? I remember once I managed to get an upgrade to upper class on Virgin on the way back from San Francisco by pretending to be incredibly posh, and they fell for it.
Wow.
And I've never flown upper class before. I've never flown it since, and it was lovely.
Well, yeah, I had that once.
I've only ever flown.
I got a bed once on Virgin Atlantic. It was just a bed, and I just slept the whole way. It was so good. Obviously, I had to do the cleaning afterwards, but it was a small price to pay.
But you know what? I did show my working class roots, because anything that was free, I basically put
in your bag.
Yeah.
How working class is that? I mean, if you spent 7,000 on a ticket, you're not bothered about, you know, a bit of hand cream. But then I'll go, is it free? And I go in the bag. I even took a jogging suit with me.
Wow. I can't believe you slept though, Shaz, because I would have forced myself to stay awake and drink everything that was free.
I just loved it that you could have a bed, and there was also a shower. They had a shower in there as well.
Wow.
People were showering before they were landing. Crazy.
Amazing.
Were they?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, you know, a lot of them do like flights for business and stuff. And so they were just like having a shower, having a sleep, getting off a flight, going to a meeting.
I have a friend, we were talking about biggest fears, and I was like, what's your biggest fear? And he said, having to turn right on an aeroplane, because if you turn right, you go into cattle class. If you turn left, you go into first class. I was like, that's your biggest fear.
Wow.
Biggest fear was having to turn right in a aeroplane.
I hope you glassed him.
It was so, well, at first I didn't even know what I was like. What do you mean turn right in an aeroplane? That's do you mean there's no other way to go unless you're the pilot?
Yeah.
And then I realised he was talking.
That when the plane goes down, they all go down.
Yeah.
But this is the thing about lockdown. As a comic, we're always complaining about travelling. I mean, I haven't been on a train in like 2 months.
I missed it.
Oh, I missed it so much.
I missed it so much.
I went driving. I drove my car for the first time after lockdown because everything's really local to me, so I haven't had to drive. And we drove to my daughter's to go for a barbecue. And honestly, I was driving. I was like, shit, what do I couldn't, I was like, where's the button? What is this? Where's the indicator? I couldn't remember. And I was not paying attention, and I was looking out the window, and I couldn't remember how to put the fan on for the air conditioning, and I was absolute terror.
I had so I leased my car.
Dominic Cummings.
I leased my car, and I was going like 5,000-6,000 miles over my per annum, like as far as like going on to this year. And that was a real bad silver lining that I pulled out the other day. I was like, well, the car's been on the driveway for the last 3 months. Skoda's going to get all of my money.
Which is great.
I was so tired of staying alert. That, the other night, honestly, I couldn't sleep. I'd been alert for 3 days on the trot. I decided to give myself an eye test. I thought, my God, I haven't closed my eyes. So I drove 120 miles up the motorway to Birmingham, where I now remain alert.
Well, whoever just got the bloody virus in the House of Commons wasn't being very alert, was he?
No, that's hilarious.
I love how his advice basically was Ross from Friends. Everyone just unagi. If everyone unagis, we will all avoid coronavirus.
So, Shaz, are you in Birmingham at the moment?
I am, yes, I am. I've been awake now. It's been a week, and I'm all curried out at my parents' house.
How are your parents dealing with the lockdown? I mean,
I thought you were going to say how are they dealing with Shazia?
They have been looking forward to this for years because they've got 9 kilos of basmati rice in the cellar, plus 6 bags of chapati flour. I mean, they have been preparing for this for decades. They have been waiting for this to happen. You know what's hilarious is tomorrow morning I'm being interviewed by Mark Commode, the film critic.
Me tonight, Mark Commode, downhill from tonight.
I want to do it from my mum and dad's living room downstairs, and honestly, the wallpaper is fucking atrocious. It's like,
I love it.
Why do you do it in the garden?
Maureen, it's black with red flowers on it. It's a typical Asian person's house. And
I was going to say that, but it sounded a bit racist, so I didn't.
And you know what? They sent me an email going, Mark Commode has interviewed Steven Spielberg, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Martin Scorsese. And I just thought, fuck me, it's me now in Birmingham at my parents' house.
But they didn't have wallpaper that looked like it was out of an Anne Rice novel.
I'm like, this is just, you couldn't make it up.
But that's the favourite thing about seeing, because I'm giving you nothing. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, no one's going to be judging me.
Yeah, just curtains.
I've got curtains, you're getting fuck all.
You know what? I didn't realise, I only realised this in the pandemic. I didn't realise people read so much. I mean, people.
Oh, I read a lot.
People's bookcases on these Zoom meetings.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they read them. They've just got them on the bookshelves.
I've seen them, and I thought, you don't read.
If I had my green screen up, this would look great.
Oh, wow.
There's space.
Kind of clever.
Look, there's that meme. I'm in that meme now.
Yeah, but you look very ghost-like.
Yeah, it's because my green screen's not up. So if you have a green, oh shit, I should change that though. Hang on. If you have a green screen or like a plain white background, you can dick around
behind you.
Yeah, look, I'm in a Quidditch match. Whoa.
Oh no, I read a lot. I'm at the moment I'm going through Dickens, so it's taking me quite a while. It's not one of his best, but I do read. I probably read about I don't know, about 10, 12 books since lockdown.
Oh wow!
Really?
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, but then I don't have a life, so I'm just by myself. So it's either that or watch TV.
I've been reading one line in one book for the past 6 weeks.
Must be a good line.
You can't concentrate. You just keep reading the same couple of lines, and you think,
Perhaps you're bored with the book. What's the book?
Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Oh, no wonder.
God, yeah. I've been getting up
Keep it light,
really
Shazzy. Keep it light.
Yeah, sounds sexy.
Keep it light, Shaz.
I'll be getting up really early, at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and have a cup of tea. I go outside, have a cigarette, and I look at Facebook, and then it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I go, oh, busy, busy, busy.
I'm terrible for afternoon naps. I do have a lot of afternoon naps, I have to say. Now, I'm by myself, but Jojo, you've probably got the opposite thing because you are married. Do you want to explain your marriage situation? Because the first time I heard Jojo talk about her family was on stage, and I thought she was making it up.
Why would I?
Don't you remember? It was at Edinburgh. It was at Edinburgh Fringe. It was a really shit show that we both did, and we were like the only two.
I was going to think you could say my show was shit.
No.
Punchy through the street.
No. It was like an open spot night, and we were just new, and we were the only two that got jokes. So we kind of came to.
We did. We became very good friends.
Came together. So do you want to explain your situation? Because it's a slightly unusual one, to be fair.
It is a slightly unusual one, and I don't think, even though my solo show last year was very revealing and all about my life and my childhood and all the rest of it, You won't know this either, Marina, because I thought I can't tell them this as well, because it'll kill them. So I am actually married to my ex-husband's brother. So I'm just looking at their faces. To explain, so my older 3 kids are with my ex-husband's now brother-in-law, and one with my ex-brother-in-law, now husband. So Christmas is fun.
It's all true, by the way, all true.
It's all true. So yeah.
I just want you to know the EastEnders theme song just put in my head.
And it is, I think people don't believe me, and you didn't believe me. It's one of the questions I get asked loads. People come up to me and go, "Are you really married to your ex-husband's brother?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it's like, "Does he have another brother?" I'm like, "No." Although I'm like, well, he's got a sister who looks a bit worried when I visit. But
by the way, Bren has reminded me I do have somebody in my house, so you lot carry on chatting. I'm just going to get my flatmate, so you carry on chatting among yourselves.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. I wonder what the hell's going on there.
Jojo, so did you put that curtain up especially?
No, you are. You're all in my bedroom, actually. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So it's just that it's outside.
That's good. That's good.
Favorite place on earth.
I don't know if you can see this, but that's my flatmate.
Oh God!
Really? Why have you got a blow up doll?
This is Ursula, and I know she should have put some clothes on.
She looks like she gives a hell of a rim job.
Don't go there again, Kate.
I haven't tried that yet. Basically, what happened was she was a present. I did support for the Naked Magicians for a month, a couple of years back, which was the best job of my life.
Naked Magicians. There's something about you. You did the puppetry of the penis as well.
Yes, there does seem to be a theme here.
I went to see that, Jojo.
Did you?
Yeah, Maureen had difficulty concentrating on her joke.
I couldn't. Do you know, she was in my house. She was staying with me.
Oh, yes.
When she got the phone call. So she was meant to be doing an open spot, because quite a few years ago, she'd been booked to do an open spot on
like
this
20
date.
quid.
Even if it was that, I don't even know if it was that. And then she took this call, and it was Puppetry of the Penis wanting them to support them on tour.
50 quid for twice.
And it clashed with the date with the open spot, and she turned it down. So when she came off the phone, and I'd kind of been eavesdropping, I was like, "What was that?" She went, "Oh God, that's really annoying. Puppet of the Penis wanted me to support them on tour, but I've already got a gig that night." And I was like, "What gig have you got?" She was like, "Oh, it's like open spot for Spiky Mike." And I was like, "Get the fucking back on the phone. Get to fuck." I was like, I couldn't believe it, turning down, like, what was it?
500 quid. I was turning down 500 quid for a 20 gig.
Maureen's always like that. She'll get a phone call going, "Do you want to support Elton John in concert?" And Maureen will go, "Oh God, you know what? I think I'm busy."
Yeah, I think I promised I'd run a quiz that night.
No, anyway. But anyway, the Naked Magicians, as a leaving present, Ursula was on stage, and they gave me Ursula as a leaving present. So I did a video today, which you can check on my Instagram, Maureen Younger, featured Ursula. But unfortunately, my friend Salim, as you know, Shazia, he blew her up for me, because I don't have her blown up normally. And I'd left her on the floor, lying on the floor yesterday, and my neighbours offered to paint the woodwork to my windows. So they were painting it, and then I realised they could see a blow-up doll face down on my carpet. So I went out to explain why I had a blow-up doll face down on my carpet, made this great long explanation, and she went, "Well, I haven't got the glasses on, so I couldn't see."
Oh, wow.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
You know, Maureen.
I know. Maureen is convinced I should write a sitcom of my life, because every week something happens.
There is always, every time I'm with you, something happens. There's always some disaster. Or, do you know what I mean? We go to a cafe and
something happens.
You have an issue with somebody, or do you know what I mean? It's like it's always kicking off at someone.
I told Jen about the doll, and
Maureen, what's the common denominator here?
Thank you, Shaz. Yeah.
Someone had to say it.
Can I just say, I told Jen about what happened with the doll, and she was like, she goes, "I've been around you long enough, Maureen. I'm not the least bit surprised."
Nor did she buy your lies.
But honestly, I mean, I don't think you've ever tried to explain why you've got a blow-up doll on your carpet, but it's quite a difficult one to kind of sound convincing about. That's all I'm saying.
It's brilliant though that you went in with a whole explanation without having to. So cool.
So yeah, that's Ursula.
Oh god.
Well,
I
she
have to say,
seems
that was the best
charming.
month of my life. I loved that show. That was an absolutely brilliant show. If you ever get a chance to see them, it's very good magic. That's what I'm saying. So Shaz, I mean, because you survived the island with alpha male you and Thomas, didn't you? So lockdown must be really easy for you.
Well, I survived the island with Bear Grylls. And you know what, though? It was hard because, you know, we were starving to death on the island.
Were you, though? Were you really?
God, we were. Because
Really?
people think, you know what, I mean, the island is a survival program rather than a reality show. It's not like I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, where they do give you food. On the island, they gave us nothing. They just dropped us off, 10 of us, 5 men and 5 women. And we had nothing. And we had to get our own food, and we were getting bitten to death by sandflies and mosquitoes, and it was horrible.
Sandflies are horrible.
Sandflies were the worst.
Yeah.
But you know, I had Mark Watson on with me, the comedian. Who had a phobia of thunderstorms. I mean, that was his phobia, thunderstorms. I mean,
I'm with him on that. I'm terrified.
Are you?
Something lightning right out. Yeah.
Really?
I remember being inside.
We just thought, oh my God, it's white male privilege, you know.
Chooses to be afraid of thunderstorms.
You know, not like rape. He's not scared of like rape, famine, war, or death.
Keep it light, Shaz. Keep it light.
Thunder and lightning.
Thunder. Like, we're starving on an island. Never mind the thunder. Just get some food.
But what made me laugh was that all these alpha males did fuck all, pardon my French, and then you ended up having to feed everybody.
Well, the thing is, women, what we discovered in the situation, and what Bear Grylls said to us was that women are better survivors than men.
Yeah.
Because it's mind over matter. It's not about physical strength. Mm-hmm. And women in their life generally have had to go through pain and suffering and things by themselves that they are used to. So they just get on with it. And that's what the women did on the island. In the end, 4 women survived and only 2 men. And that's because the women, we used to get up every morning and we used to talk to each other. We used to sit around the fire, we used to chat, we used to cook, clean and chat about weddings. And then...
What did you say?
But, I mean, 2 of them were getting married and they all talked about, we had things to talk about, whereas the blokes just get up, they used to get up every morning and all they wanted to do was hunt, cook and cry. They were just wanting to kill stuff.
That's a great thing to hang in your kitchen. Eat, pray, love, hunt, cook, cry.
They just wanted to kill stuff. That's all they wanted to do.
Because also you did that celebrity solitary thing. What was that? What was it called?
Celebs
again?
in Solitary.
How was that?
After the island, that was a doddle. You know, Celebs in Solitary was like...
I watched you on that. You were brilliant.
It was 4 celebrities locked in.
You were drawing things.
4 metal containers.
Yeah.
In a derelict car park in Belfast. I know. Anthea Turner was in one. Professor Green was in the other. Eddie Hall, the world's strongest man, was in the other, and I was in the other. And only me and the world's strongest man survived to the end.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Anthea,
because it was about you know, trying to stay the longest, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was to stay till the end, 5 days.
Yeah.
There was no daylight. There was only the food in the cabin you had to cook. No contact with the outside world. No music. No TV. Nothing. And Anthea left after a couple of days because she said that in her life she's used to having people around her.
Yeah.
Because comics really used to being by ourselves.
Yeah, like comedians are used to being in solitary.
Absolutely.
She's always got someone to talk to, and she said, I couldn't bear being by myself in my head.
That's very, very telling, isn't it?
Because I don't know, I think there's quite a few comics, we kind of like being by ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, there's not been much change for us, really. Do you know what I mean? Being locked down, it's like, I do fuck all day anyway.
But have you, because I've written short stories and stuff, but I haven't actually written any material. Have you worked on any material, Jojo, since
I've done quite a bit, because I've had to for gigs and stuff, so just like recording things. So I've done bits and pieces, not huge amounts by any stretch of the imagination, but...
What about you, Shaz?
I mean, I did a couple of gigs online. I did a gig last week in LA. Obviously, I wasn't in LA. I was in Hackney. But
Very similar, very similar.
Exactly.
but the weird thing was, it was LA time, so it was 4 o'clock in the morning here and 8 p.m. over there. So I had to stay awake till 4 in the morning in my living room doing this gig in LA to the screen. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to improvise. Like, since the lockdown, everything in my house has gone big size.
Oh my God, you're never going to get through that.
Why do you know, in the middle of a pandemic, why did you go, I've got to go big? So I bought a really big one of them, and then I got a really big bag of chapati flour.
Do you make a lot of chapatis, Shazia?
I haven't made chapatis in 20 years, Maureen. But, you know, everything's gone really big. And you know how to do the gig online. It was weird because they said it was sold out, but I couldn't see anyone. And then all of a sudden, people are commenting down the side. This is really funny. I'm thinking, well, I can't hear you. And
so
then,
you couldn't hear them?
No. So
a Zoom thing.
But you know what? I had to laugh at my own jokes. Nothing new there. But I had to laugh at my own jokes to kind of help my rhythm along.
Because I did my first 2 online gigs last Friday. And the first one I had to follow a girl who did definitely the wrong material for that audience.
Oh God, no, tell us.
No, I could see the promoter. I could see her face. She was like, because you couldn't see the audience. It was being streamed, but you could only see the acts. And the promoter's face was like this. It was the face going. And of course I was like, I've got to follow this. I actually talked to the host a little bit, so I didn't go straight on, so I was chatting away to her. And then the second one was actually a really nice one. They unmuted a few people. So and there was a woman who just laughed at everything I said, which was fantastic. I was like, you can come again, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that helps if you've got people.
Well, this
laughing.
is this gig on Saturday apparently, and Jo Caulfield did it last Saturday, and she said she said she was just like an open spot. She was so nervous at the beginning, and then she was high as a kite afterwards. Do you know what I mean? She was just like, oh, you know, like totally giddy, and she had to take herself out to the garden because her husband was going to kill her. She's just like, oh my God.
Because for those who don't do stand up, I mean, there is nothing worse than doing stand up in a vacuum. It's silence. The whole point of stand up is it works as a live medium, and you feed off the audience. So the more the audience laugh at you, the more you will be funnier. And I know people complain about, you know, always being made to sit at the front and being bunched up together, but that's because it works. We need that kind of vibe, and there is nothing funnier if you were for a comic, is though you've got that vibe going back and forth, and it just makes you funnier. Audience laughs more, you're funny. It just works like that.
Well, it just like works with all the pacing and the timing, and you know, just the way that you deliver everything. Because if you don't have that, you know, that energy and people to bounce off, then your timing goes off and your punchlines get all muddled up. Yeah, it's weird.
And it's also because there's a very interesting documentary by Billy Wilder, who everybody probably knows, very famous director, did Some Like It Hot. And he said the thing is, you can't let the audience know that you think that's when they should laugh, because if they do, they won't laugh. So there's a very famous scene when Jack Lemmon, dressed up as a woman, has just someone's asked him to marry her, and he's talking about his engagement, and every line is a joke, but he's playing the maracas, and Billy Wilder said he did that so he could do the joke, play the maracas, the audience can laugh. Then he does another joke, plays the maracas, but the audience don't see that they're waiting for the laugh.
Yeah,
they don't laugh over the next joke, and it's a very clever trick, and comics will do that. They'll you know, and it's so for most comics, the idea of doing stand-up online is just.
Or you could always be like Michael McIntyre and just laugh at your own joke.
Harsh.
It just feels like Schrodinger's gig. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know whether the people there are laughing or they're not, but I don't want to open the box either way.
The other thing that I found really disconcerting, I stopped doing it. So some of the clubs that had live streams, like the Stand and the Laughter Lounge and Hot Water and places like that, so you'd send a clip in, you know, so 3 days earlier, and then they'd show it. So you could watch the show that you were on, but then we also but they've got a live feed, so they've got the comment section.
Oh,
And so the one I did at the stand, honestly, I was absolutely shitting myself because they were brutal. So Daniel Sloss was on, they were going, what's this shit? You're just like, oh my God. And they were just slating everybody. And I was just sitting there and I was like, and then both my kids had the comments on their phone. I was like, just don't tell me. I don't want to hear. And
but also it's unfair to judge it because it's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not real stand up, so it's unfair to judge it that way.
Digging to the YouTube comment section just sounds like a fantastic experience. Can I also just say, I'm looking out at the gallery here, and did you guys know that Caroline Charlton is watching the gig from the International Space Station? I can't lie.
Look, we have fans from everywhere. And Caroline was very desperate to watch this because she actually emailed me to double check that she would get on. She'd watch tonight's show. So all the way from Mars. She's been very, very
excellent. Don't come back to Earth yet. Things are going to shit down here. Stay up there for now.
Yeah, I like those astronauts that just fucked off, didn't they?
Perhaps they know something we don't.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm loving on social media. It's like every time there's like an interesting headline, like the other day, like I think it was the CIA released UFO footage, and people are like, "Not now, UFOs."
We've got enough going on.
Exactly. Oh, there's something about some kind of asteroids coming towards Earth.
Asteroid.
And somebody was like, "Oh, brilliant! Good news at last."
Last night I was getting tweets from LA that there'd been an earthquake, and I was thinking there was an earthquake last night in LA.
Really?
It's never made the news. Hasn't made the news.
I was thinking, there's so much going on now. An earthquake is not even making the headlines.
I know. Not now, tectonic plates.
People were tweeting, "Oh, bloody hell, not an earthquake now, not an earthquake."
But it doesn't. But it did not feel like, all these like Madeleine McCann and all these things. It feels like it's sort of tying up the ends of a series finale. It's just like, get everything, just get the answers to everything.
Yeah, it's like season 9 of Lost. Where's the polar bear?
Just tie everything up.
You know what? I think that Madeleine McCann thing was a red herring to put everybody off what is actually happening at the moment.
I don't know. It's the Germans. I don't. They seem to be quite sure of themselves. I don't. Anyway, keeping it light.
Yes, exactly. Oh, don't get me started.
Oh, for goodness sake. So, listen, what do you think when we get back to proper stand-up, guys?
September.
I think it's going to be. Do you think so?
I think. Well, am I
maybe in Scotland.
I might tour. Because you've got that. Oh my God, that woman running Scotland is just amazing, Nicola.
She's great. She is good.
Can we swap her? Can you have Boris?
Oh God,
Speaking
no.
of Nicola.
Oh, no,
Can we have
no,
Jacinda? Can we have Jacinda?
I'd vote for Jacinda. Definitely.
Jacinda. You know what we need? We seriously need a lesbian running this country because you get the shit.
I'll do it.
Quite a lot of audience are agreeing with that one. I think Linda and Sylvie Kenrick, get Kenrick to run it.
But look at all the women leaders around the world. They're all doing a bloody brilliant job. Well, not all of them, but you know what I mean? But, New Zealand and
Angela Merkel.
Angela Merkel. Oh, they're all fucking smashing
Our one
it.
is barely alive and barely alert. I mean, he's telling everyone else to be alert. I mean...
But he's very proud. He's very proud of what we've been doing. He's very proud.
Yeah. I tell you what he's good at now, Maureen. He's good at breeding. Very good at breeding.
Yeah. You know what? All that private schooling, he doesn't have to work a condom. That's weird, isn't it?
Well, the other thing is,
perhaps he can't get one in a small enough size. I don't know, but
I'm disappointed at women for sleeping with him. Is anybody else like?
Oh yeah.
Have some standards.
Yeah,
I'm with you there, Kate.
Oh yeah. I know.
There are perfectly good lesbians walking around.
This whole war analogy, do you know what I mean? That keeps driving me mad. Do you know what I mean? Likening COVID to the war and just sort of it's the blitz spirit, and it's like, you've done that.
This is ironic It's ironic from a government who's killed more people than British people in the Blitz. But I mean,
yes, exactly. But he's blitzed people.
Anyway, keeping it light. Anyway, the idea, their idea of the Second World War is that it was all won by John Mills and Harry Andrews. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Anthony Quayle. They don't really, that's their idea. They watched a lot of 50s, which I did as well, to be fair. I've watched a lot of 50s black and white movies and 60s movies about the British in the war. But it's like that is not actually...
But I find him very confusing because you can now meet 6 people, but you can't have sex with anybody that's not in your house.
I mean, Shazia, for me and you, that's hardly an issue, is it?
You know what, Maureen?
To be fair,
Maureen, I'm sorry, but I still had a bit of hope. And I just feel that you can't have sex with anybody who's not in your household, but you can go to a garden centre.
Yeah.
you got to get your priorities
You
right.
can have sex in a garden centre, but you can't have sex with someone who's not in your own home.
Well, you know what, Shaz? Just get yourself an Ursula.
Maureen, I tell you, I've been trawling around the garden centres in Birmingham all this week, and I haven't had anything. Couldn't get anything. I got a cactus. There was only a couple of cactuses going.
Well, that's just going to hurt, Shazia, so don't use that.
I wouldn't advise it. No matter how long it's been, it's really not worth it.
Are we in lockdown or not? Are the schools open or not? What is happening?
The irony is, because for Christmas, which seems like a million years ago now, after lockdown, my daughter bought me an escape room experience, and the idea of that for the whole family, the idea of coming out of lockdown and then going and putting ourselves into an escape room is just like, no, I don't think we're ever going to use that gift.
It's a nice idea, though.
It's a nice idea, but I really do not want to. I don't want to be locked up with them ever again. And also, when I'm let out, I am never fucking coming back in. I'm out. I'm gone.
Who are you staying with? Obviously your husband, and which were your children, nieces, nephews, are you staying with?
Oh, I can't remember them. Who have I got? I've got the eldest and the youngest. So
can I interrupt? Darren Beaumont's got a very nice background.
Where's
Don't
Darren?
you can
Well
see
done.
that?
Where is he? Where's Darren?
You
I can't
see
him.
it? It's me, Ursula, and my mate Karen.
Having a time.
See it,
Oh
Darren?
gosh! Yes, I see.
Oh yeah.
We took her when we took her on the undergrad. I asked if she didn't have an Oyster card, but they still let her on, so that was quite nice. But we talked to Japanese tourists. She was like, anyway. Sorry, Jojo. You were saying you're staying with your family, so
Yeah, so I've got my eldest. I've got my boy that you've heard about, Marina, and my
very
youngest.
nice lad.
I've got Finn Laden.
How old is Finn? That's her youngest child.
I did.
How
Yeah.
old?
She's
Quite an
17
intelligent
now.
child, I've seen.
She's incredibly intelligent, incredibly sporty, and incredibly annoying. She's trying to teach me TikTok, and she gets absolutely furious with me.
I've seen them.
And I've had to persuade her. I really had to persuade her because she wasn't going to let me do it. And I was like, I really want to learn TikTok, and she was like, you're not cool enough for TikTok. And I was like, your friends think I'm cool. And she was like, well, you're too old for TikTok. And I was like, but Monica from Friends is on it. And she was like, yeah, you don't look like anything like Monica from Friends. I was like, oh, well, that's a bit harsh.
How old is she now? Did you say?
17.
Because I remember she was a little wee thing when I first met her.
I know.
How's
Yeah,
it doing living in close? Because obviously me and Shaz are
Do
living
you know
ourselves.
what? It hasn't actually been that bad. It was kind of, because everything kind of happened sort of one time after the other. So I was the first to go in terms of my career went off the,
I'm with you. I know how it
overnight. But everybody, and it was just, it was before actual official lockdown really, but, the clubs, advising not to go to clubs. So I was the first one that was really kind of shit, what's going on? But Rory was still working, my husband was still working, Finn was still at school. So it was like, oh, that's okay. But then it was just like sort of it was like a domino effect. So I was the first one not working. Then Finn wasn't at school. And then Rory got furloughed. And then it turns out my husband's a key worker. I didn't even fucking know what he did. But that was a great surprise. I thought, oh, somebody's earning some money, thanks. So, apparently he's a key worker. Who fucking knew? He didn't.
No,
I didn't. Nobody knew. So he's been working the whole time. And I do feel sorry for Finn. I feel that's the generation I feel really sorry for because, her her last day at school, her senior show, her exams.
Oh, of course, because it's your Scotland, so her last year's 17, isn't it?
Her prom, everything. So, and so now I think she's going to defer university because they're talking about it being online, and that's not going to university.
What's the point?
You don't go to university online.
It was Oxford University that announced they're going
Cambridge
till 2021.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the thing is, it's not just the fees. The whole point of going to university
It's meeting people.
It's to shag.
Absolutely.
Other people. And the thing is, you're online, fucking hell. I mean, that's the experience gone, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of dick pics, isn't it?
Yeah. Nothing new there. But it's,
Kate, how are you dealing with it? Because you and your missus are living together in what looks like a very nice house, I have to
Yeah,
say.
thanks. You know what? Ermston's treating us all right. So Carrie, my wife, hasn't been furloughed. She is still like properly working, but from home. So she goes down and occupies the kitchen pretty much from like a normal work day. And mostly, you know, I've been basically doing gigs like this where it's sort of like, you know, throw a coin in a jar and I'll buy the wine this week. But I've been spending on my creativity, finding ways to torment her. So I've been like, I've started
You've been
to like
hiding, haven't you? You've been hiding.
I scare her, and I've like started labeling the food in the fridge so it's like an office experience for her. And so it's like all the yogurts that are mine, I put my name on. I leave passive aggressive notes about washing up your tea mugs.
so we're very lucky to have you here, and you've not been murdered.
I know. I tell you
I mean,
what.
she seems very patient for a Scotswoman.
I'd
She
have
really
killed you,
is.
Kate.
Oh, to be honest, if I wasn't filming half the shit that I did to her, I would have been murdered.
Oh, you're claiming it's work. It's work.
Yeah, exactly. This is my craft. This is my art. I'm going to put this online for likes. And what do likes equal? Not money, but approval.
Yeah,
It might do. Jen does that. Jen does that. Like we're at Jen's house. We'll suddenly do a podcast, or we have to do a vlog. It's just so she doesn't have to look after the kids.
Yeah.
Just working with Maureen.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
The cocktail videos I'm doing, I make Carrie get up from her work desk and like come film me. Because
Very understanding.
But then she gets one as well, so she can have her Friday sort of like half cocked, I suppose, which is good. It's
Not
the way
something
to
I don't
be.
hear you say, Kate, but okay.
I know. Phrasing.
So Shaz, have you been? Were you living alone, and now you're living with your parents? How are you finding it?
I prefer living on my own.
It's the grass is always greener, isn't it? I would absolutely do. And I can't remember the last time I'm on my own when I go for a walk, but the last time I was on my own in the house is 10 weeks ago. And I'm like,
the thing is, apart from getting fat, hairy and grey, all you do is like eat all day. I mean, a lot of eating going on. And then I started running once a day, going for a run once a day. But I didn't go very fast. I just kind of like ran a bit and then walked a bit, had a look around, wasted an hour and went home. I mean, it's just like, do you know what happened? The mind got a bit slow. You get a bit brain dead.
yeah, that's true, actually. And I don't know what everybody else is feeling, but in terms of needing the stimulation, you know, when you're normally kind of writing gags and you're talking to people,
you're
you're
traveling,
meeting people, you're
people.
traveling and
also,
things are happening.
In the first couple of weeks, I felt very lethargic, really tired. Like I was sleeping a lot, like like most of the day. And I think it was just the shock of having a normal routine.
Do you know what? It is scary though, isn't it? Because I don't know about you, but suddenly all your gigs started getting pulled one by one. And then, then it was further on in the year, blah, blah, blah. And it is scary noticing that all the work that you had, I used to gig 3 or 4 times a week, you probably all did. And then suddenly you've got nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. And it was bizarre.
And in theory, I've got stuff. Obviously, I'm not applying for stuff because it's a bit pointless at the moment. But I've got some stuff for the autumn. But you kind of think, is that going to happen?
Yeah.
Is it really?
I'm meant to be in Dublin at the Laughter Lounge in September, and they're opening on the 10th of August. So and the stand is opening on the 1st of September.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Really?
And then the Pie tour hasn't been cancelled, so I'm doing the tour support for Jonathan Pie. And
when does that start?
October.
Okay. Well, we don't know though. We don't know what's going to happen. It's that kind of thing where you're kind of, but it is worrying, isn't it? Because you just kind of go, I rely on performing live to earn a living, and
right.
What can we do?
How shit are we all going to be when we get back on a stage for real? I mean, it's going to be hopefully everyone's going to be so desperate and so pissed because they're out for the first time in, giddy, that everyone will just laugh at everything.
Lower your standards. That's what we implore you.
But will everybody be doing the same material?
Well, this is the other thing. Do you know what I mean? All about, and who's going to want to fucking hear about COVID?
And it's going to be like, how do you find an original angle on material that every comic in
but
the
world... I don't think, it's like during the Depression, the last thing people wanted to see was films about the Depression. They wanted to see, they wanted to enjoy themselves.
Although, having said that, we've gone through the last 2 years with everybody and his dog talking about bloody Brexit.
No, I've always talked about myself.
Yeah, well, you're our selfish family.
I have to say this. My last blog this week, I did a blog, which is always about me, obviously. I actually did the politics this time because I was so exasperated that I actually stopped talking about myself for once, which I've never done in 15 years. So I know it was quite worrying. I'm going to go back to talk about myself this week, but I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't really be writing loads of new material, but you know what it's like. You've got to try it out. There's no point writing reams of stuff.
You've got to try it out, but also you do have to be stimulated. You need to get ideas of things that are, happening. And that's one of the only reasons I do actually go for a walk and have a wander around, is to try and kind of ideas and things.
There is a thing, isn't it, that if you like, I don't know if anybody knows The Artist's Way, which is quite very American.
Oh yeah, I've read it. Yeah,
it's a very American, but I think it's a very got to take it with a pinch of salt. But it's oh yes, it's brilliant, isn't it? I would recommend, if anyone's like feeling a bit depressed or they feel like they're in a rut, I would definitely recommend the American The Artist's Way. As I say, from a British point of view, it is a bit American, but
cheesy.
Bit cheesy, but I think it has that thing about if you're walking, if you're driving, if you're or even like just chopping potatoes, if you're doing something for the rhythm, it does make you think. And I've had that quite a few times where I've been walking and I've found a topper for a joke. For those of you who don't know, a joke, so you've got to set up punchline, and then if you can get a topper, it just makes the routine a lot stronger. And I've come up with quite a few toppers just from walking down the street, and then it'll come in my head.
I'd also like to recommend a book. I'd like to recommend John McEnroe's Serious.
You're taking the piss.
I think she may be. Well, as for that break, I'd recommend my book, The Void.
John McEnroe's book it's just fabulous. It's a fabulous read. But it's 50p from any good.
Look at all the books.
Any good bin store.
Excellent. Everyone show a book. I'm going to get one.
Thank you, Michaela. Michaela, also,
I've got Damo Clark's from Edinburgh Fringe, which has been cancelled. She's got pictures of cartoons.
She is nice.
I'm
in it. Fierce. She's fierce. I don't know.
What have I got?
So yeah, feel free to buy that.
I think this sums me up. A book about the Edinburgh Fringe and Confessions of a Sociopath.
Did you write the second one?
That's hilarious.
Is that your book?
Yeah. Sad. This is what I'm reading. I don't. You probably can't read it. It's
Irish Blood.
Irish Blood English.
And hilarious and tearful in like the same breath.
Oh, nice. I like books like that when you're laughing
like
an
Edinburgh show.
Caroline's about to show something from space. Benjamin Zephaniah. Wow.
Oh my God. I know Benjamin. Oh my God, he's really great.
Okay, let's talk about that. Who's the most famous person you've met, Shaz? You met Robin Williams, didn't you?
I worked with Robin Williams, but I also actually met David Bowie once.
Ooh.
Cool.
How was that?
Every size.
He was very quiet, actually, as was Robin Williams, very quiet. But we hung out with Robin. It was in San Francisco at a gig, and he was on and I was on. And it was just 3 or 4 of us in the green room. There was only a few of us. And he was very quiet, and he was really lovely and very nice and just normal guy,
Most people are, really, aren't they?
Who's your most famous person you've met, Jojo?
Oh, well, darling, loads. No, my sister, my dad, having been married a million gazillion times, but my sister's godfather was a guy called Robert Helpman, who was the actor who was the child catcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's read me a bedtime story.
Wow, that sounds creepy.
Wasn't pleasant.
What about you, Kate?
I used to wait tables and bartend in New York City, so does that count if I waited tables on a famous person?
Yeah.
There was one party that I waited tables at, or cater waiters, and it was Will Ferrell was there, and Bon Jovi, and Harrison Ford, and an actress that I really had the hots on at the time for, Gina Gershon. Like, if you're a lesbian, you'll know who Gina Gershon is.
Yeah, I'm not a lesbian, but I know who she is.
Okay. Are you sure?
You got me at Harrison Ford, to be honest. You got me at Harrison Ford.
Were they all having dinner together?
It was a party, and we were catering the party. But I tell you what, I waited tables at a restaurant on kind of not the most famous guy, but the nicest guy was Wallace Shawn from okay, so he's in the movie Clueless as like the nerdy guy that they hook up the teachers with. Mm-hmm. And he's also the voice of the dinosaur in Toy Story. And Princess Bride. Yeah, Wallace Shawn was so nice, like just the most genuinely pleasant person, and very like because I said to him, you know, I was like, by the way, I think you're, you know, I was like, I think you're awesome, and he was like, like just genuinely enthusiastic to be recognized, and was like, thank you, and then left a fat tip.
You know, I once with my friend Maggie, we were getting somebody's leaving present. We bumped into Michael Caine. And actually said, "Oh, are you Michael Caine?" It was clearly Michael Caine. And then we got him to sign her leaving card, and nobody believed us. They thought we'd made it up.
Amazing.
See, that's the thing you see these days. If you don't film it or
it didn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, I can't believe this. This has gone. This is probably the quickest. We've almost done our time. Bloody hell, we like to chat. So, I know we've almost been on an hour. So, Jojo, what is your tip? I keep asking comics this. What's your tip for surviving lockdown?
Actually, no, I do have a very good tip, because it's quite it's quite hard to, the noise, it's quite noisy online and Facebook, and you go through different emotions. This is a serious tip, that it can be quite hard to kind of see what everybody else is doing and different emotions. So don't get angry on Facebook. Just walk away from social media. And what I've been doing is that anything that annoys me on Facebook, rather than replying, I've been writing it down in a notebook. What I would actually want to say to people, because some people have annoyed the shit out of me.
Unfollow them.
Do I know? But that way we are kind of think, I'm going to come out of lockdown and I'm going to be socially distancing from some people forever. But you can't blame them. It's lockdown and we have to get through it our own way. But yeah, so don't judge anybody in lockdown is my top tip.
What about you, Shaz?
This is my
leave.
This is my
bye.
This is my tip for lockdown: is L'Oreal Magic Retouch colour.
Oh, I should do that. Look.
Yeah, and because if you've got grey hairs in any area of your body, this is really good, because you just kind of spray it, and it covers your roots temporarily, and nobody knows. So L'Oreal's dark brown Magic Retouch. It's like $4.99 from Superdrug.
Very good. I don't have any roots because I'm natural, ladies. So.
But what I can say, another thing is people should meditate. I know it sounds a really wanky thing to do, but just sit in silence, or if you can meditate 10 minutes every day. It's really good to quieten the mind down.
Is meditating breathing? Because that's all.
I think you have to breathe.
You know something, you can start that way. Focus on the breath.
What about you, Kate? What's your advice?
I find food to be a great comfort, and I think I've been ordering groceries based on some recipes from recipe books. So we've got like a bookshelf full of recipe books that we never use, and like every big shop, we try to pick like 3 or 4 recipes that I'm going to try to cook, because Carrie's working. And I don't normally cook, and I've burned and cut myself on multiple occasions now, but I'm pushing myself and trying to be better in the kitchen. So I'd say make yourself some food that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Get yourself fed.
Absolutely. And I think it is, though. It's like switch off the noise sometimes. It just gets too much, the news and social media and people's opinions. It's just quieten everything down. It's like, meditation.
I stopped listening to the news at one point and just started listening to my old record collection, because it was you can get so depressed with the news. I mean, I got depressed the other day listening about, might be martial law in America, and then here was going to shit. And I just slept. I think on Monday I just was asleep the whole day, because I just was like, I can't face this. So I think you're right. I think it's cutting yourself off, because otherwise I spend too much time on Twitter looking at trending topics, and it's never good.
And the thing is, what's sad about that is that it's never you trending.
Be more Maureen. Look, Jen Bristol's trying to get Be More Maureen to trend, and we failed miserably. To be fair,
I tell you, if they don't let me out of lockdown soon, it will be me trending because I'll have a house full of dead bodies.
Keep it light, Jojo. Keep it light. So if people want to check, I'm gonna put up a thing at the after this, so people can.
But you can't speak anymore, love. Have you been drinking?
It's a orange squash. So if people want to see you, or what, are you up to anything, or anything you want to mention that direct people in your way, Jojo? Here's your chance.
Oh God! Well, just follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to up my Insta followers, and I tell everybody everything on Insta, and I do silly photographs, and I usually
any TikTok videos yet?
And well, I'm learning one. So there's going to be a new TikTok video. It's kind of cool. It's sort of that's all I've learned yet. That's all I've learned.
Is that you hitting somebody? Anyway, moving on. Shaz, you've got a thing on BBC that people can look at, haven't you?
Yeah, I made a short film in lockdown, which I filmed myself for the BBC.
It's very good.
For BBC iPlayer, and it's about how to get humour in a pandemic. I've just posted the link actually on the side. On the side.
Oh, cool.
How do I do that actually?
You put it in the chat. You put it in the chat.
I've put it in the chat. How do you do it to everybody? At the moment, I've got.
No, it will come out to everybody.
Oh. Basically, it's about gaining humour. How to get humour out of any situation. Cool. And I filmed it myself in the lockdown, and people can view that. It's only 16 minutes long.
That was very good.
Oh, actually, no, I had forgotten. I did have something to plug. Was the Corona Logs,
which is what?
It's on Apple and Spotify and all the platforms. So it's called the Corona Logs, and it's 5 different monologues it's about a street in Edinburgh and 5 different experiences of lockdown. But it all ties up, and it's very funny. And I voice bits of it in the middle. So it's different monologues, and I pop up in each one.
What about you, Kate?
I'll find the link for that.
Yeah, if you can put the link and put it on there, that'd be brilliant. And I'll put it on Twitter or something, whatever. Kate, what about you?
So I'm doing a lot of regular improv shows with Comedy Sports, which is like an all ages, kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyway style improv show. So like we do 2 or 3 shows a week. They're just free to watch on YouTube and stuff. But I usually post any link to anything I'm doing and my cocktail vids to both Instagram and my Facebook page, which is called Kate McCabe Stuff and Nonsense. So I'll just put that in the chat right now. You know,
I'll put a slide up anyway, and it's got everybody's Instagram handles, because I didn't want to put Instagram, Twitter, it just gets too cloggy. So for me, obviously I do an Instagram live on Tuesdays. We obviously didn't do it this Tuesday with the wonderful Jen Bristol. Obviously doing these comedy chats, and next week we've got the wonderful Zoe Lyons.
Oh, lovely Zobo. So
Zoe will be one of the members. Darren hopefully is going to put Darren has put, if you want to give us a tip, there's a PayPal there. If you haven't got PayPal, you can text me on that number 07400 973 221. Tell me how much you want to tip, and then I send you a one-off link, and then you pay on your phone, and that link then disappears. So if you want to pay me by iZettle or by PayPal, feel free to tip us, and then I will divide the money between all the acts. And I don't want to boast acts. We've already got £6 each in the kitty. So